Greetings everyone, my name is Jamison Vanden Einde. I'm the Director of Commercial Technology at Hydrite Chemical Company. And I want to welcome you to this year's Virtual Membrane Technology Forum. Of course, like everybody else, we'd much rather be in person, but we're making the most of it, and we're very thankful for all the sponsors and industry partners that made this year's forum possible. Thank you so much for allowing me also the opportunity to speak to you about what it means to always have a second set of eyes with HydriVision. I'm jacked to be able to talk to you here about HydriVision, really truly a first of its kind here in the food and beverage industry, and it's something that Hydrite has been working on for a number of years. And I just want to give you a little bit of a peek into the history of how we came about releasing HydriVision and making it commercially available to our customers and to the industry. And then just a very basic overview of how the system operates and some of the features and benefits that you can expect from utilizing this technology. At the conclusion of the session, there will be some time for questions and chatting and so on, back and forth. Look forward to hearing from you. So let's just dive right into it here. Anybody that knows anything about project management knows that something of this magnitude and the nature of this is where we started with something from scratch and ultimately was able to patent this piece of equipment. There are a lot of steps involved, and there are a lot of different trials and a lot of different prototypes and so on and so forth. The list is long, but really at the end of the day, what we try to do to the best of our abilities is be able to categorize all the feedback and all the collaboration that we got from vendors, OEMs, customers, about making sure that we could fit this technology into 4 different buckets. And those buckets are to have the system, the technology be affordable, be dependable, be robust, and be flexible. And we really feel like we've checked all those boxes with HydriVision. The customers have also been very influential in helping us develop this technology. Before committing any type of capital to a project like this, we wanted to make sure that we were hearing their needs and addressing their needs. And so we really focused heavily on skilled labor availability in a plant. We focused really hard on ROI and how we can align that to sanitation program spend or intervention program spend or whatever the case may be. But really try to make some alignment to that. Try to make a strong case for improving the efficiencies of verification and validation protocols that our customers have. And probably more recently, something is that we've paid particular attention to and put a lot of focus on at Hydrite Chemical is the FDA's Smarter Food Safety Initiative. We really feel like Hydrite's line of commercial technology, HydriVision included, falls in line really well with particularly 2 of the 4 core elements of that Smarter Food Safety Initiative. And those elements are listed up here on the presentation. Tech-enabled traceability and smarter tools and approaches for prevention and outbreak response. We really wanted to make sure that, again, lots of things involved with a project like this, but we just wanted to give you some background and some idea around how we arrived at the system that we arrived at. We're just going to now talk a little bit about the basic or the general operating overview of the system, and first talk to you a little bit about the components of the system and how it works. So what we have under the hood is essentially built into 2 different systems. So we have 2 different systems that are available on 2 different platforms. So we have a PLC PC model, and then we have a circuit board model. So the PLC PC model is obviously built with a lot more in mind regarding data storage, data collection, data reporting, customer integration, those kinds of things. So when we were going through that whole process, we ultimately landed on choosing a Allen Bradley Compact Logics for the PLC, and we support that PLC through HMI viewing system that's available through Hope Industrial. We use a 17-inch monitor. I'll be able to show that here on the next slide. And then we have an Advantech i5 PC that has factory talk and Excel capabilities on it. So we are able to, we have it, each of those PLC PC model systems has its own SQL server on it. So we can also do the reporting and the data collection and so on and so forth. We can do that all locally, but we can also, of course, do that all through customer integration if that's something that the customer so chooses. The PLC PC model can monitor and or control the inputs from 4 CIP systems, or 4 pumps or 4 tanks, whatever way you want to feed the samples to the system. It can do that through 4 different inputs. So it has a nice range of capacity in terms of what it can monitor and or control through the course of a day. As it says here on the bottom, it is that HydriVision doesn't take any days off. That is your second set of eyes. So for your programs that you're using out there in your particular applications, it can monitor, it can control 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're using, of course, optics to be able to, that's the term HydriVision came from the fact that we're using optics to give us the concentrations. We're measuring the concentrations by weight and by specific gravity. So there's a combination between the optics and the specific gravity where we're being able to calculate the concentrations for the chemistries or the sanitizers that are going into the system. For a sample collection on a PLC PC model, you can simply manually collect a sample and bring it right to the unit and test it. You can also have a push button feature where you can say have four different delivery or supply lines for a sample connected to the system. You can simply push a push button and it will deliver the sample to the titrator, and the titrator will give you the concentration at that point. Otherwise, if it's integrated into the customer's system or integrated into a system, obviously you can set it up to automatically collect a sample and then titrate based on a set frequency or during a specific time, during a specific wash cycle, et cetera, et cetera. So there are a number of different capabilities that you have with the PLC PC model. The circuit board model really is the same thing from a hardware perspective and how it functions. It's just that there is no PC. It is what it says it is. The electronics and the program is on a circuit board, and then we store the data locally on an SD card. So some of those, the integration features and the reporting capabilities are not there. Everything on the circuit board model is simply done locally. This gives you a Solidworks drawing, a little bit better depiction or a view, if you will, of what the system looks like in the field. We can mount it several different ways. This is just how we mounted it or drew it up on SolidWorks for this particular example. But we have what's called obviously the control panel. On the left is where the HMI screen is. And then on the right is where we have the reagent panel, which is where we have the titrants, the reagents, the optics, the vial, etc. All those components that go into giving you the concentration for the particular product that you're titrating. That's where all of the quote unquote action is happening. And so, something that you can, generally speaking, you can plan on is that it's, anywhere from, depending on the product, but say for like a chlorine or a peracetic acid test, it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 to 120 seconds to be able to produce a result. Some, nitric acid or phosphoric acid based products or alkaline products, certainly the result, and again, depending on the concentration level that we're titrating, results can be as fast as every 45 to 60 seconds. But I think just as a general rule of thumb, the amount of time that it takes from sample to sample is in that 90 to 120 second range. Like I said, this can do everything that maybe a number of your operators or a number of operators are doing in a particular plant. It's a really nice way to be able to integrate this into a CIP system for performance checks or verification protocols. If you have the time and the temperature and the flow rate, and now you also have the concentration, and you can be able to integrate that into one document, that is highly valuable to the customer from an auditing perspective, and so on and so forth. I should also mention here before wrapping up that this that the PLC PC model, the version of Allen Bradley factory talk that we're using through Rockwell Automation is actually approved as an electronic document. So the report that is generated from HydriVision's PLC PC model is compliant with the 21 CFR Part 111 regulation revolving around electronic documentation and electronic signatures. So there's probably a number of other, there are a number of other features and benefits that probably can be discussed on a more case-by-case basis. But I think this really just gives you a really good overview of why HydriVision is always a second set of eyes. I look forward to your questions and discussing with you this further. Thanks so much. Hey everyone, we actually had some questions, come in to the moderator while I was presenting. So this, in addition to some questions you may have in the live chat, I just wanted to make sure that we got these questions addressed. So you can see the questions here behind me. The first question, just to reiterate each of them, is do you have any documentation through an accredited third party regarding any studies that have to do with validating and verifying the accuracy of HydriVision as compared to manual field titrations out in the manual titrations in the field? The answer is yes. We actually did a very extensive project with Eurofins based out of their laboratory in New Berlin, Wisconsin. And we have that documentation on file, the results of it being very favorable, and just showing and exploiting the accuracy of HydriVision as compared to, and the repeatability of it as compared to some of the variations and so on and so forth that you see from multiple people. and multiple techniques used within the industry that are very commonplace in a plant. So if anybody would like to see that documentation, we'd be happy to provide it to you. Just you can make sure that you get a hold of myself, or frankly anyone within the Hydrite team here that's a part of the forum, and we'd be happy to give you the visibility to that documentation. The second question here revolves around just asking a little bit about the capabilities of what we may be working on and what what the next steps are for HydriVision. That's always a really it's something that we naturally see in the industry, is when we're working on when we commercially launch a piece of equipment. Generally speaking, it obviously fits a need. But then as that technology gets out there, then there's questions around, well, what else can it do? Or what can we expand it into? And so just to give you a sneak peek, if you will, into the development work that's happening now, is that HydriVision will be expanded into having pH capabilities, pH measuring capabilities, as well as the measurement of enzyme activity, and then also the measurement of chelation products or things such as EDTA and other chelants that we may want to measure the concentration of individually. Those are what's in the development works now. More to come on that, of course. We're still in the development phase, but we hope to, we're making strong progress so far, and we hope to have some of those capabilities commercially available here real soon. The last question that came in during the presentation was revolved around, what can a customer expect for if a customer was to install HydriVision? What can you expect for maintenance, whether it's reactive or preventative maintenance, and then what can you expect for frequency of calibration of the system? So first of all, the maintenance of the system, we have a preventative maintenance program established. It comes with the installation. We can work with you on that. We can work with the customers on that, whether or not it's us helping with the maintenance, or it's training your own personnel. There's nothing complicated about the operation of the system, and we would be we don't expect again. Like I talked about in the presentation, we tried, we focus really heavily on having a system that's robust and dependable. So this was like basically taking a piece of lab equipment in some respects and industrializing it, and then making it, making it our own, and being able to, again, just to reiterate the fact that it is a patent pending piece of equipment. So specific to the maintenance, we have a preventative maintenance program that comes with it, that comes with every install. Everything is pretty modular. There's a few small valves and some tubing, but everything is pretty compact and designed to be kind of pull out one piece, put a new piece in type of thing. So there isn't a lot of little intricacies to change out or do anything like that. Again, we're happy to work. We have a field staff that does these types of things as well. But oftentimes the customer is more than willing to work with us on those types of things. So it's the expectations of how often you're working on it and whatnot are very, very low. There's also questions around the calibration of the system. The beauty of this technology is that there is no calibration. We actually, because HydriVision is giving us the concentration ranges based on specific gravity and the optics and that combination. What we need to do as Hydrite does, what we need to do is make sure that specific gravity is measuring accurately for you, and we have a simple field test for that. But in terms of formal calibration on HydriVision, it is not necessary. So again, thank you for the questions. Any other questions or you need clarification on anything, happy to help out with that. And don't be afraid to contact us. Thanks so much.